to Angel Heart Radio. Thank you so much for choosing to join us today. I'm very excited because with me today is Angel Consult woman, Kayt Raymond. Kayt, it is absolutely wonderful that we've been able to have you here on Angel Heart Radio.
Thank you so much for inviting me. You and I have talked before. I always find it such a delight, Annette. So I'm looking forward to this as probably as much as you are.
Oh, excellent. Well, your story is a fascinating one because you were in the corporate world having a lovely, lovely time, and then all of a sudden you found yourself having a conversation with angels.
Yes, I mean, for a corporate person, you know, I was the sort of padded-shouldered, navy suit with the gold buttons type of woman, you know, like I've got a solution for you, corporate strategist in the business world. And I started having experiences with angels. And so the business part of me thought I was going crazy, but my heart loved it. And I felt there must be some truth in something that makes my heart so happy.
I'm always fascinated, Kayt, because we never really know where we're headed. We think we know where we're headed, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom.
It's true that this was a complete departure that I had not expected.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, the angels started asking me to paint them. Now, I was trained as a classical musician. I liked art. I liked going to art galleries, but I had no skills. And they were saying, we'd like you to paint us. And I was like, no, you've got the wrong girl. You know, you need someone who's got painting skills and also someone who's got an open heart. I don't have skills and I don't have an open heart. I'm down for the count on both scores. Ooh. So I think you need to find someone else. And they totally ignored me.
Wow.
And like, you'll do. I was like, well, and I had this wonderful experience, or a couple, if I may share them with you.
Please do.
I was married at that time to someone whose company was a sponsor of a football club. And so I went to lunch on a Sunday where, you know, everyone was there, the sponsors of the club and partners, the football team and wives, and Santa even, yeah. So there we all were at this lunch. And I was sitting next to a man called Graham Gould, who was the chairman of a number of boards, of corporate boards. And he said to me, I knew him, and he said to me, so what's happening with you these days? And I said, look, I thought, I'll take a risk. And I said, well, it may surprise you, but I'm becoming associated with angels. And he said, I'm not surprised at all. I thought that was nice of him. And then he said, I have an invitation that's been sent to me that is definitely for you. He said, there's a person on the south side of the harbour who has an angel exhibition on at this point in time. And the invitation's not for me. I'll send it over to you tomorrow. So I rang the woman and said, you know, I'd love to come and see your exhibition. And she said, look, it doesn't open till tomorrow. That was the Monday. It doesn't open till tomorrow, but why don't you come over later today? We set a time and you can have a cup of tea and then have a look around the exhibition by yourself. And I said, oh, that's so sweet of you. So off I went, very excited, because I was still at the stage then, Annette, of thinking, I think it's very weird for someone from the corporate world to paint angels, right? Mm-hmm. So I needed to be convinced. Anyway, I got there and she said, oh, come on in. And the exhibition was in two rooms, one of Archangel Gabriel and all his and groups of his angels, and one room of Archangel Michael and groups of his angels. Mm. Now, I couldn't articulate this at the time, but what happened was when I walked into the room, the first room was the Archangel Gabriel room. When I walked into the room, the feeling of angel frequency in the room, like it was like the air was dewy with particles of angels radiating in the room. It was an extraordinary experience. I couldn't quite articulate that at the time, but what happened for me was I relaxed my shoulders.
Yeah.
I felt peaceful. There were no thoughts in my mind. And as I stood in front of each painting, I felt the subtlest of frequencies coming from the painting. And each painting made me feel good, made me feel better. And so finally I bought 2 of the paintings, one of Archangel Gabriel and a group of his angels, one of another group of Archangel Gabriel's angels. And she said, look, I can't give them to you, but I'll get them to you, right? So I left the exhibition and I just sat in the car, held by the frequency, not only of the paintings, but of all these angels in the room. And so I just sat in the car, held. And finally I drove home and it kept coming to me that I was to paint these angels. And I was like, angels, yeah, you really have the wrong person. Anyway, the angel artist on the south side, and she put many glazes of oil, many layers of paint, so that the frequency of the angels went into the painting through the many layers of paint. And I thought that was very interesting. Anyway, about a year later, she didn't know what was going on for me. About a year later, I was getting these messages from the angels, thinking, and I was fretting because I didn't know how to paint, and I knew that the paintings were to be in watercolour, which is the hardest medium, right? Anyway, this artist phoned me, the angel artist, and said, would you like to meet for lunch? I'm coming over your side of the harbour. I've got a message for you. So we arranged a place. I went on the way to the restaurant. I thought, who do we know in common, you know, that she could be giving me a message from? And so I got to the restaurant, I sat down and she said, have you got your notebook? I said, yes, got my notebook out, ready for the message, like whoever it was from. And she said, Archangel Michael said to tell you, stop fretting about the watercolour. You need to do 3 things. You need to get in tune with the pigments and find out which ones make beautiful colours and which ones make mud. And I wrote it down. I thought, yeah, I could do that. Number 2, get in tune with us. Pray, be in nature, be in silence, meditate, get in tune with us. I thought, yes, I could do that. Number 3, put those things together and paint it. Now, and they've told me since that if you give me things in 3s, I like it. I didn't know that. So I went home, and the next day I got 3 calls. You won't believe it. So I got 3 calls from different people I knew. I was being very sort of secretive, even private, about this whole angel thing for a corporate person. I thought that's a really sensible thing to do. Anyway, I told a few friends and I got one call from a friend who said, I've just seen an angel exhibition in watercolour. I thought, oh, that's good. And I took the details. And there was another call. Oh, I've heard of this woman who paints angels. Okay, took the details. And the third call was from a friend who said, look, there's a very good art store in Seaforth. They have very good quality paints and they're not too expensive. And I said, thank you. I wrote it down and I looked up and said to the angels, okay, enough already. I'll go to the art store, right? I went to the art store and discovered how expensive these teeny little tubes of paint are. And, of course, I was going around this one and that one like it was a lolly shop, you know. And then I got to the checkout and she said, oh, well, this is really a lot of money. And I went, okay, let me take some back, you know. And sitting on the counter was this art magazine of a woman who painted coral and frogs and other things in watercolour, and her technique was to throw the paint. And I thought, that's good, I don't need skills. Oh, that's excellent. So I rang her on the spot and said, could I come to your class? And she said, oh, of course, you'd be most welcome. And I said, would it be okay if I painted the subjects I want to paint? And she said, oh, of course. So I got there and I did, first of all, one painting of frogs and then threw the paint, and one painting of coral. And then I went, okay, I'm going to do the first. Is it all right if I do angels? And she said, yes, of course. So the first painting was of Angel Aloysius. Now, the quality that he radiates is pathfinding through difficult circumstances and giver of insight. And I thought, well, that's perfect because I don't know how to paint. You know? And he was a lovely angel. And so he was the first painting that was painted. And the painting radiates his quality. What I discovered is that they do multiple layers of paint, and the angels do multiple layers of light as I do multiple layers of paint. And that puts the frequency into the paintings so that the paintings are, in fact, sacred embodiments of the angel's quality. So if I put 10 of them out around the room for you, Annette, you might go, oh, I like that one over there. But then you look at this other one, you go, oh, that's the one I'm to work with. And I think, how do people know? But what happens for people is their heart energy recognizes the quality or frequency of the angel they need in their life at that point in time. And I discovered that Fra Angelico, who painted angels in the Renaissance, also painted in this way.
My goodness. Now, the thing that gets me too is that you were a lady who knew very little about angels, and there is such a realm of them. How have you got to know them?
Well, you see, it's a very good question. I spend so much time with each one. They give me hints. So I know when a new painting is coming because I start getting hints. Now, they don't come to my mind, these hints. They come to my heart knowing. So I started to get these hints about, you know, a particular angel. Like at the moment, the angel for romantic love is about to be painted, and she would like to be on a swing. Now, I've been getting hints from this angel for about 20 years. I've known of her. And so I've been keeping a plastic A4 pocket with all the hints. And at one point I was in, and I'd said to her, how do you want to be painted? Because I was getting these hints of flowers and so on. At one point I was in Oxford going to an a cappella jazz and gospel singing workshop. And I was walking down the street in one of the breaks, and I got this vibe from the angel go across the street to the, you know, they have little gift shops and, you know, cards and so on. So I got to the door and I thought, okay, whatever this is has got to hit me in the face, show me where to go. And so I got this nudge to go down the back of the shop. And there was this stand, right, of cards. And I turned the stand round and there was a woman on a swing. So I thought, right, that's one. It was a painting, actually, of a woman on a swing. And then I was about to leave and it was like, no, there's something else. I turned the thing round and found a picture of someone else whose hair was done in a particular way, where she wanted some of these little cute clips in her hair, right? And it was like, I want my hair like that. So I want to be on the swing. And then she got me to look back at the swing picture, and I was looking at it, and I found what she wanted me to see in it, which was the rope on the swing had vine leaves up the rope. and she wanted those in her picture. It's like, okay. So this angel has been giving me these hints for, near on 20 years now, and we're finally getting to have a painting happen now. So I'm just about to do the drawing, and then we're going to start. And I know the palette she wants, and so she says that romantic love has a freedom to it. And, she waxes a bit lyrical about romantic love. So I think, I'd hoped to be in love when I was painting this. That could happen. There are some possibilities in the wings at the moment, so that might happen. Because I thought it would be good if I could be congruent with the quality of the angel, So there you go. It's probably giving you too much information, but that's me.
Well, I'm fascinated because you started painting angels, and then how did it lead to the consultations for other people? Because that's what you do now. I
do still do the paintings, I still do writings, and now the angel consultations. Well, I just thought it's funny how they lead you, I think angels push us a bit, I'm saying this, but, they want to bring out our best, so they, I think they push us a bit. So when I had 21 paintings, the Academy of Light Rosemary asked me to do an angel exhibition for the Academy. And it just turned out that the Mossman Art Gallery had space available, that we could put all these paintings on easels in front of the works on the wall. And about 156 people turned up to this exhibition. And people started to say to me, when's the workshop? And I'm like, the workshop? I didn't know about a workshop. So after a while, I started doing workshops, teaching about angels and sharing what I'd been taught by them, right? It's a long way to get to your question. And then I started having people say to me, well, can't you do angel consultations? Can't we talk to the angels? If you talk to the angels when you're painting them, can't we? And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, right? So I have a friend, or did then, sadly he's died now, his name was Trevor Tanner, down the street. And I went to visit him and his partner Renee. And Trevor had Parkinson's for 20 years, which is, a hard call.
Yeah.
And he looked really forlorn when I was down there. And I said, what's wrong, Trevor? And he said, I don't know what my future holds. I was a classical guitarist. I was a producer for the ABC. Sorry. And he said, I don't know what my future holds. And what came through me, it wasn't from me, was this is what your future holds. And apologize for this. And so they told him, and I was aware it was happening, and I thought, this is really interesting. They said to him, you will start to do photographs in the natural environment. You will have a cord on your camera, so you can, even if your hand wobbles, you can take the photo and the photo won't be affected. And you will develop, you have the opportunity and the choice to develop some watercolors, sort of looking paintings on your computer. And you will have the opportunity to have 2 exhibitions of your work, 2 big exhibitions of your work. And also, because you're a guitarist, you will, and of course he couldn't play anymore, you will become interested in electric guitars. And often on a Friday night, I would take he and Renee to a local band where Lenny, the lead guitarist, is a totally intuitive musician who plays, of course, electric guitar. So Trevor ended up buying electric, and the angel said, "You will play with this band," and he couldn't figure that out at all. Anyway, the band who loved him started coming for practices on Wednesday nights, and they would get, those armchairs where you can lift up the feet and move the back and those sort of
Yes.
armchairs. So they would put his armchair sort of in a V shape. They would tie him into the V shape at his waist or hips. Then they would lay his guitar on top of him, his electric guitar, and he would play with them. Now, of course, this gave him so much joy. So when it actually happened, but for me, when this all came through me that night or that late afternoon, I thought, well, I'm in no hurry. I can just wait and see if this happens. I need some evidence, I need to know that this actually comes true, because, angels are beings of truth. They can't tell you anything else but the truth. And normally they don't give so much forecasting, but for him, because of his state and what he'd been through, they did. So I waited 5 years and everything they said came true. He had 2 very successful exhibitions. He played with this band on Wednesday night. He was as happy as Larry. And then one day I was there talking with him and Renee, and he said to me, I haven't had a good night's sleep in 20 years. I feel embarrassed that I hadn't thought about that. He said, my body moves around when I'm asleep. So I said, look, I've got a book of the pictures of the angels I painted in the car. I'll go and get it, and I want you to think of not sleeping and, go through these pictures and see if there's one that appeals to you. So he got to Angel Serenus, Serenus, and she radiates the quality of serenity. And so if you put an alarm on your phone, if you don't sleep well, if you put an alarm on your phone at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is what she told me to tell him to do, it gives her enough time to sort of hunker down your body and relax it. And she seems to elongate our experience of time so that we just really relax. And by the time we go to bed, we sleep. Trevor was so excited, he rang me the next day and said, I've had 8 hours sleep. It's the first time in 20 years.
Wow.
So I recommend that to your listeners because it works. I had a woman come for an angel consultation about 8 years ago now, and she said, I've got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. They fight. They don't want to go to bed. They want to watch television and so on and so forth. And she said, we have awful trouble with them. So the angel said, put your phone on at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, put the alarm, call on Angel Serenus. And about 4 weeks later, she phoned me. She said, Kayt, thank you so much. Well, thank you to Angel Serenus. I put the phone on, I call on her for the whole family at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and everyone sleeps peacefully and the boys have stopped fighting. So I just thought I'd mention that. But to the angel consultations, back to your question, for 5 years seeing everything that they said for Trevor come true, I went, okay, I'm in. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. So now people, they do this online on Zoom or on the phone or come in person, and they work out their questions for the angels. I write them down, and then the angels, through me, take the questions in whatever order they feel is appropriate, and they answer the questions. And, sometimes a mother comes, and, and sometimes it's a father, and they're very busy with family and so on. And often those individuals ask questions for everyone else but themselves. And, being loving parents, and the angels say, well, let's deal with the most important question first. Let's deal with you. Is there anything you want to know about you? Because there are some things we'd like to tell you about you. And what I love is that whoever it is, whether it's on Zoom or phone or in person, the angels know so much about the person. And, you know, they've got the goods on everyone, really.
Yeah.
And really, and it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. And they're so loving. They're very respectful, in my experience. They're very respectful. They're very appreciative. But at the same time, sometimes if they need to give hard truths, they will, in the gentlest of manner, you know. So that was a very long answer to your question. I'm sorry.
Fascinating. And Kate, I've been so fascinated, I forgot to welcome the people who have been joining us via the chat. May I say to everybody, if you're watching this live at the moment and you would like to make comments or maybe ask Kate a question, please go to the Angel Heart Radio Facebook page, because that's where you can make comments like Elaine and Julie and Chilla and Maz. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for saying hello. And
if I may, look, those individuals are welcome to follow me on Facebook. It's at Kayt Raymond Official. Kate is spelled K-A-Y-T. Raymond, R-A-Y-M-O-N-D, Official. And on Instagram, it's just at Kayt Raymond, K-A-Y-T-R-A-Y-M-O-N-D. And my website is kaytraymond.com.
kaytraymond.com. Simple. We're so fortunate because we have all of these avenues in which to reach out to people these days. And we can stay in our own home, and as you do, and converse with people all over the world.
Yes, we're very lucky, really.
We are indeed. So you find, I would be fascinated by how people get to know about you and reach out. We were talking earlier about how we're where we're meant to be, and that fascinates me. The fact that, okay, yes, I used to be very concerned about, oh, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And yet these days, Kate, I know that I'm being led by the angel realm, by the universe, and it's simply a matter of tuning in.
And following the golden breadcrumbs they give us. You know, we have extraordinary synchronicities happen. We have lucky breaks happen. We have good things coming to us through friends. And, you know, the one thing I would say to everyone is, of a morning, simply say to your guardian angels, thank you for looking after me today. And thank you for getting the angels I need. And then if you don't know an angel's name, say, you know, we call on the angel for patience all the time. You know, there's times when we go, give me patience or give me strength. You know, what the little guardian angel does is whiz off and get the angel for patience for us and brings the frequency to our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. You know, so we don't have to know the name of the angels. We can think, okay, what quality do I need today? I'm going to be in a tricky situation. I'd like the angel for wisdom to be with me. And simply say, I am now grateful for the angel for wisdom, or whatever quality it is that you want.
Well, that's a nice, simple way, isn't it?
Yes, we can all ask. We don't have to have lots of learning. But to go to your other question, how do people find me? Well, of course, I've got the website and so on. But in addition, I was interviewed by a man called Kevin Moore on the Kevin Moore Show. It's in video. He operates out of Wisconsin in the USA. He's English. And actually, there's a link to his podcast on under interviews on my website, where I'm going to be putting the lovely Annette's interview shortly. And anyway, I didn't know it when he asked me would I be interviewed. He found me on the net somehow, and he runs a program called We Are Channelers. And so he interviewed me about my work and what I was doing. And as a consequence, the people who've seen that in Ireland, in Romania, in Morocco, in Singapore, all over the world, Canada and the US, of course, here, I've been contacted through my website as a result of thank you, Kevin Moore. You know?
Right. Beautiful.
So those things happen. Yeah.
Lovely. So I take it that you are delightfully busy with consults.
Yes, and I do my best to fit people in at a time that works for them. So I don't put up a schedule on my site because people are all in all different time zones. You know, I had
Right.
contact me from Emerald in Queensland. I thought, oh, an Aussie, that's lovely, you know.
Yeah.
But equally, it could be. So I normally, people go on my website, they pay for the consult and then send me an email and say, and of course PayPal does anyway, and I send them an email and we set up a time. It's as simple as that, really.
And how long should people allow for a consult?
Normally it's an hour. However, some people have a lot of questions. I normally say, look, 8 to 10 questions is sort of all right. That'll fit in the hour. That should fit in the hour. But some people, there are two reasons they have a lot more questions they really, really, really need answering, according to them. And the other time is sometimes the angels want to talk further to the person about their work or their life or what their creative gifts and so on. So the consult can run over, and what I do in that situation is just charge for the extra time, which might be 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever.
Right.
I've got to tell you that I had one woman from the US who works in cryptocurrency. Right, that's what she does for work. She sends out a newsletter on cryptocurrency. And so there are all these questions, some about her, and then there's just all these questions that I've written down about cryptocurrency, which I know nothing about. And I remember sitting here thinking, thank God the angels are answering this. And they held up their end. I was surprised. You know, she wanted to know, you know, why, when someone who knows about cryptocurrency had said the price was going up, that it went on a big dive. And they said, well, this is happening in the world and that's happening in the world, and this has done this to this economy and that economy. And so people don't have the same belief and confidence in investing at the moment. So the price went right down. And she went, oh, that makes a lot of sense. You know, like, phew. So sometimes, you know, always I listen to the answers that are coming through, but sometimes it's like I'm sitting here a bit goggle-eyed at some of the questions they get, you know, and answer really well.
Right. Fascinating. So, do you find that you're painting purely and simply because you're being guided to outside the consults I'm talking about now?
Yes. So what happens is I get all these hints, right, from the angel about what they want in their painting. And then the day comes when I think I've got enough hints. And, okay, now we can start. And I get tracing paper, big piece of tracing paper that's 55 by 75 centimetres.
So it's big.
It's big, yeah. And then I start to draw the angel. Now, it's very interesting. I was aware that I'd draw a line, and sometimes the line was fine, and I'd go on to the next line. But sometimes I would draw a line and I would get no. In my heart knowing, I would get no, erase half of that line. That's not quite right. So I'd erase half of the line and then I'd draw it as it felt right, and then it became right. Now, I didn't know that I knew I was getting guidance. I didn't know who from. I knew it was angelic, but And I could see up above the painting table this group of angelics. Now, what I could actually see was like sparkling light, like the air sparkle. And it happens when there's a group of them together, right? And so, and when they decide to show themselves, that's the other part. Anyway, there was this group of sparkling light, and I'm thinking, who are you? You know, what do you do? Are you painters? Because I thought they were painters who came into my body as I was painting, because the paintings were going quite well. And I'm thinking, I don't think I have these skills. Anyway, all right, I'll give it a go. And, you know, Aussie, give it a go. And so I would get the drawing right, and then I'd start the painting. Anyway, one day I went for a spiritual clearing with a friend of mine who's a trance medium, right? So an angel can come in and use their body and speak to me. I have these abilities too. Sometimes the archangels come in and do that. Anyway, one day I was sitting there having the spiritual clearing, and she said, look, an angel wants to come in and talk with you. I went, oh, okay. And the angel said, you've got something wrong. And I thought, oh, no, really? And they said, no, you've just misunderstood something. That group you see up there of sparkling light, that group you think who are painters and drawers, illustrators, they're not.
Huh?
Okay. I said, well, what are they then? And the angel said, they are angelic art directors. So get this, I've got 27 angel art directors, and their job is to, now there's that's going on, and then the angel is there standing sort of up a bit, because they don't stand on the ground, and shining its light into my third eye, my heart, and my hands, so that her or its quality goes through me into the painting. And what the art directors do is they discuss with the angel or archangel, does that line represent your quality? So if it's the angel for kindness, does that line completely represent the quality of kindness? So that's how we work in here in the studio, right? And, you know, it feels truthful. I take their guidance. I do what's requested. And I end up with a drawing, and then I transfer that to very thick watercolor paper, which is made of linen. And the paintings can take me a long time to do. Normally it's about 6 weeks to 8 weeks to 3 months. One was 5 years, right? And so it takes the time it takes.
Wow.
And
obviously you tune in and very much listen to the guidance.
Absolutely. And the guidance, of course, comes to my heart. So I'm quite clairsentient, knowing clairsentience is one of my strongest gift, which is knowing. We don't know why we know, but we know, and we know in our heart. And yes, I have clairaudience and clairvoyance as well, but clairsentience is how a lot of the information is given to me. And I feel very privileged and humbled that, I get to do this. And the group I work with is called the Angelic Choir. They have inspired paintings and artworks for humans in Mesopotamia, in the Renaissance with all those beautiful angelic paintings, and now through these paintings and no doubt others around the world. Yeah. So that's what happens. And this is the choir. And the choir, the reason that they inspire artworks is to make it easier for humans to connect with God and the angels and archangels. Because we're so visual, when we see something, we put a name on it and we make it real. That's what's real for us. And so the the angels and archangels in the angelic choir are giving their paintings, so we can go, oh, okay, that's Angel Aloysius, or that's Archangel Michael, yeah, and tune into the frequency. We don't need the pictures really, but we can have them if we want them. And a lot of people buy pictures of, A5 prints of the angel pictures. Yeah.
Right. Now, do you still have exhibitions?
I haven't for quite some time. With the whole COVID thing and the pandemic and so on. I've got one more painting for the first 40 paintings to be done. So I've written 3 books about the angels. There's a story on each being, a picture, and then a message you can say to them. And that's on every one I've painted so far, the angels and archangels. And so the last archangel, or the last one in the 3 books, is Archangel Uriel. And he is really the archangel for manifesting. He's the manifester. If you want something in the physical world, call on Archangel Uriel. And so he and I have had a good relationship over the years. And then when it came to doing his painting, while, I'm tuning in with what he wants, he just wanted pink light. And it was like, Archangel Uriel, humans won't get it if we don't have a picture of you. And he was like, well, that's what I do when humans call on me. I blend my light through their life and through what they want to create, and I help them manifest. And it was like, well, that's lovely, but somehow we need to show them that. And please, can we at least have a head, a halo, and a soul star, and maybe your shoulders would be enough. And finally, he said to me, you didn't think I'd be the difficult one, did you? Because we've got on so well for so long. And I call on him a lot. And I went, no, I didn't think so, but clearly you are. And so now we've agreed on his picture and how it's going to operate. It's going to have his head, his halo, his shoulders. Then we're going to have some pink light, right? And then there are 5 pictures in little circles to go in the pink light. And then we're going to be also by a stream. I'm not sure how this is coming together yet, but anyway, all the pink light and so on is by a stream. And next to the stream is this like bedroll or bed. And his point is that no matter where you are, if you're sleeping by a stream, on the streets, or in a regular bed, you can have my assistance. And if you're walking around having issues in your time or your daily life, any issue I can assist you with. So that's what his painting is meant to say.
Right.
So that is coming up. That drawing is coming up. And there's part of me going, oh, let's do the angel for romantic love first. And I'm going, no, we have to do Archangel Uriel's picture. So you've got the hottest news off the press at the moment.
Yes, very much so. Wow. Oh, now, Kayt, I get the sense that the angels have given you a message for our audience today.
It's very interesting. I asked about this and they said, yes, we want you to talk about Angel Demetrius and we'd like you to talk about Angel Astarte. So Angel Demetrius, beautiful angel, radiates the quality of self-worth, self-valuing, and self-trust. And he says, if you have all of those, self-worth, self-valuing, and self-trust, it's the formula for the good life. And he said, at this point, when there's so much trouble going on in the world, humans are being invited to buy into mass consciousness of fear about wars, about pandemics, about the economy, about just not being safe. And so he's inviting you, me, and all of your listeners to what he calls seal your reality. Choose your unique reality, in saying, so that you are not affected, because your reality is one of love, is one of peace, is one of joy, is one of self-worth, self-valuing, and self-trust. So you're not affected by mass consciousness. So that's what the angels asked me to talk about in regard to Angel Demetrius. With Angel Astarte, she is the angel for the goodwill of happiness. When we have her frequency, we feel happy. And so the other things she radiates, it's the goodwill of happiness, the healing of grief, and the removal of sorrow. And she says that humans grieve for far too long. You and I have both had grief in our lives. We know what that's like. But she says, you know, what happens for the spirit of the person who dies, they feel responsible if we're grieving and in sorrow, and they're not happy. So the sooner we can get through and release the grief and the sorrow and celebrate the one who's in spirit, the one who's in spirit feels, oh, that's good. I'm happy now. I can be with the one I love and feel comfortable about that. So the message from Angel Astarte is, to anyone who knows they are holding on to grief or sorrow, please call on Angel Astarte. Thank her for freedom from grief and sorrow, and thank her for happiness. And for those of us who simply want to feel happy, call on her. I called on her this morning. I thought, I want to have a happy day. I'm calling on Angel Astarte. So they're the two messages.
Lovely. Lovely. It's important, I believe, for us to, yes, because we all grieve. We grieve. We might grieve for the loss of a loved one. We might grieve for the loss of a relationship or a job, and so it goes on. And of course, there is necessary grief, but I do hear the message that we can hang on, and it certainly can affect us to the point where we can be affected physically and become ill.
Yes.
And it doesn't do the situation, especially if it's a loved one who we're grieving. Well, yes, they're in some ways, they can be held back, can't they, by our grief down here?
Yes, because they feel like, what can I do? You know, what can I do to assist? And they often they feel like they don't have any power to help the person. And so, for example, with Trevor and Renee, when Trevor died, Renee was irreconcilable. She was so sad. And I shared about Angel Astarte with her, and I think I even gave her a picture of Angel Astarte. And then one day I was there and Trevor came and said, tell Renee, and she spent a lot of time sitting on the lounge, tell Renee I come and sit beside her and put my head on her shoulder.
Oh.
And she was so happy and he was so happy, you know, that he could get this message to her. And since then, she's been fine. But you're right, you know, we can grieve. Like I remember doing a big project in the Barrier Reef many years ago when I was much more in the corporate world. And it was such a fascinating project and so complex, and I like complexity, fortunately. And that when my time on the project was over, there were months when I felt grief because I didn't have that wonderful project anymore. You know, it was doing its thing in the world. And I came to understand what you're talking about, that it's possible for us to grieve. things or jobs or whatever, not only people. And so then, fortunately, I got to Pain Angel Astarte and I knew what to do.
Yes. So again, interesting how we can look at how we're feeling. If I'm feeling a little down, okay, spending that moment to go inside and work out, what is it that's affecting me today?
And what do I need? What quality, what angel quality can assist me? And if it's, for example, if we go, I need uplifting, I need something to uplift me. There is an angel called Angel Enthari, and she is the angel for encouragement. And I have found she's a very good one to call on if we need upliftment. And it could be we call on Angel Astarte, that's fine. But we also think, look, I need upliftment as well. I don't want to feel happy, only feel happy. I want to be uplifted. We can call on both of them. The angel for encouragement and the angel for being happy. I mean, it's too easy, really.
Yeah.
It's really good. And why not have a lifetime and a lifestyle where miracles get to be part of it? Because those of us like you, I know, and those of us who work with angels know that if we call on angels and archangels, little miracles start to happen. Things come together, sweet surprises occur. Everything flows well. In tricky situations, it's like, how cool is this?
Indeed. The key is we must remember to ask. The angels are there. They want to help us. They're chewing at the bit. We have to remember to ask for the assistance.
We do, because we live in a free will zone. We came to Earth as a spirit, got ourselves into it. We're manifestors. We got ourselves into a physical body. And this, we came to Earth because this is considered the fast track of all the planets in the system. This place, Earth, is the fast track. This is where it's bumpy in 3D reality. We have stuff happen that gets in the way when we don't want to have it happen.
Yeah.
And so we evolve quickly if we instead of reacting, if we respond with kindness or wisdom or honesty, whatever it is. So the angels can't help us. You're absolutely right, unless we ask them.
Right.
And they, if I could just add one more thing, they quite like being given a brief. Now, what they mean by this is some people say, angels, help me. And the angels go, well, do you? From our perception of you, there's a lot you need help with. Could you be a bit more specific, please? So my suggestion to your people is to say, if you're calling on an angel or archangel, could you say, and this is what I want help with today, please. And I need the angel of whatever or archangel of whatever. And if you don't know their names, as I said, just say the quality. So quality of patience, please help me with my children today, because otherwise I don't know what's going to happen. So please help me with my children. That makes sense. Okay. The person doesn't need patience making a cup of tea. She wants patience with her children or his children. Yeah.
Lovely. I'd like to quickly go back to that 5 o'clock, setting the alarm and the 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And what do we do at that stage?
You say, I am grateful for the assistance of the angel of serenity, or if you want to name, angel Serenus. Yeah. I'm grateful for a peaceful night's sleep. That's all you have to say. I'm grateful for a peaceful night's sleep, and I'm grateful for the angel of serenity helping that to happen. So you've told her, I want a peaceful night's sleep, and this is who I want it from. And truly, it works. It's great.
Lovely. I'll be trying that one, let me tell you.
Okay.
I'm fascinated by the 5 o'clock.
Well, you see, because our bodies hold stresses that we're not conscious of during the day. We get used to it, so we don't notice. We're unconscious to it. But from an angel's point of view, they can see we hold stress in our shoulders or behind our neck or in our jaw or, some other part, lower back, some other part of our body. And Angel Serenus needs time for two things: to get our body absolutely relaxed, and also to get our awareness. That's the second thing, is getting our awareness. So it's not our thinking, it's just our beingness. So our beingness seems to elongate into the future and into the past. And we just seem to hunker down and relax as that takes place. So we experience the quality of serenity. And when we're serene, and she's actually relaxed our body as well, we sleep.
Right. Beautiful.
Didn't think I'd be giving you medical advice, did you? It saves taking some sleeping tablet, which is not good for us,
Well, Kayt, if people would like to reach out to you, I know you've already told us, but let's revisit kaytraymond.com. And I love the way you spell your name, KaytRaymond.
Ray.
Why? Sorry, I'm glad you're listening. Thank you. People can reach out via Facebook and Instagram and via your website. I'm sure a visit to your website will be very enlightening indeed.
I've put lots of notes on there for people, and I will be putting your lovely interview. Thank you.
Well,
and they can send me an email through the website if they want to.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It has been absolutely amazing, and I trust that there are people out there who think, oh, it'd be very interesting to have a consult to clarify where I might think I'm heading, because that's what we can call on the angels for, isn't it? Clarification or confirmation of what we're sensing might be happening in our lives.
Yeah, so they're very good on giving guidance, and they're also good on giving direction. Well, they're good on lots of things. They're good on talking about specific issues that might be difficult or the person's not sure what to do. And they're very respectful and encouraging. And it's not only the consultation, they give people what I'm calling angel activations or purposes. Now, they literally dictate to the person through me what the person is to say every morning, which is something like, my purpose is that I am now grateful or for whatever it is the person wants, and I'm grateful to, and who the angels and archangels are to call on. So it's saying, when it says my purpose is that I am now, it says I, as a being of light with the spark of the divine in me, have the right to ask for what I'm saying now. And the person says what they want assistance with, and then thanks the angels and archangels. Now, some people end up with 6 or 8 purposes to say every morning. They say them once, and their guardian angel gets the angel and archangel's frequency for the person. That's what's required. And the person has the support of that angel or archangel's quality running through their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies. So the angels don't say just only give answers, they give specific answers to empower our life going forward. And all we have to do is say them of a morning, and our guardian angel assists. Like, again, too easy. I love the system. I love how it works,
That radiates through. And Elaine would like to thank you for the lovely talk this morning, and I would too. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
My pleasure. You're a delightful interviewer. You're fun. I love it. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kate. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here on Angel Heart Radio. Please remember, go on to Angel Heart Radio Facebook page where you can find out what might be coming up, and also have a look at all of the videos in the past. People quite often say to me, oh, I missed the show, you know, I forget to tune in at 10. Well, you don't have to tune in at 10. You can watch anytime you like. And if you've been fascinated like I have about what Kate has been saying, why not revisit? Make sure you take it all in. Much love to you all. Let's spread the joy, and remember how easy it is to reach out to our angels.